And a good morning to you. Welcome inside the Bottom Line. Lanny Ford for Rembert. Juju Phelps will join us late in the hour. If you're ready for fall, today is the first day of fall, or in my notes they called it autumn. I don't call it autumn. I call it fall.
I can tell you something right quick.
Yep.
My head's about to explode. Something's really loud on here, and it's not my ears ringing like normal.
How about now?
You're still really loud.
How about now?
I can hear you now.
Okay. Maybe Mike Powell's got hearing issues. Maybe that's what it is.
It may be. Thanks.
Okay.
Holy smokes.
Aren't you happy?
No, it's
That was
not
to wake
that.
you up. That was to wake you up. Just to make sure.
That's the first time I heard my ears ring in like 10 years.
Make sure
Hey,
you're
can we
ready
do that
to go.
again?
Make sure you're ready to go this
I didn't realize how good I had it.
Yeah.
For 30 seconds. That was great.
Let's see what we got going on. Some games coming on tonight.
Oh, yeah. Good one.
You know, I saw an article and I can't remember if it was The Athletic or 24/7 Sports that said, who do you think may be the next coach to get fired during the season in Power 5 football?
Whoa.
Power 5 football.
Well, I think it's either going to be Eli or Satterfield.
Well,
and I hope not, but I mean,
it could be one of the two guys, or one of the two guys where their teams play this weekend. Eli Drinkwitz is one of them. That was the one that they were talking about, but they play Auburn, and Auburn's in a tailspin as well.
And that's kind of what I'm getting at. Auburn's going to play well because they don't, and you know, Auburn's head coach,
and it's in Auburn,
right? And he's on the hot seat. I got some clients that live down in Auburn. You know, talking about things, and you know, they expect to have a good week this week. There's a lot going on, but if you're Auburn, I mean, what are you going to do? You going to go out and hire Urban Meyer? I mean, you know, these people that are these places that are firing these coaches. I mean, you have to look at it and say, is it really the coach? Is it? A lot of times it is.
And here's the thing. The one
it?
thing that you have to always make sure that you do when you fire a coach, even if it's after the season, you better have one that's better to replace. You don't just fire without a plan.
And that's what I'm getting at. I mean, you know, how'd that work out for Tennessee? Fulmer was terrible, right? Oh, he's awful. He can't do – man.
Careful what you ask for.
I mean, you talking about a tailspin. And again, you know, hey, I get it. Everybody wants to be new, you know, cool, exciting, and all this. But I will tell you, sometimes boring is not the worst thing in the world, right? Because new and exciting is like really fast, but it goes away as quickly as it came.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, things that are kind of boring really aren't boring.
Right.
You know, when you get down to the nitty-gritty.
Mikey Lale, good morning. Hope you're feeling better. Milton, good morning. Richie said, I think Richie is a part-time agent for Dion.
Yes.
Because, you know, talk about Coach Prime going to Auburn. I don't think he'll go there. I think he'll stay at Jackson State. Mm-hmm. Here's the deal.
He's going to stay there.
I don't see Dion being as successful in a big-time program like that.
Well, I do because – and I know what you're talking about. I do because of the NIL money, because he can bring it in and get who he wants. And what his mission is to make Jackson State a national champion.
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem with that because he can. He can get kids in. He can get money. He's got direct ties to the NFL. The guy not only was probably one of the greatest players ever, but he's also a tremendous analyst. So he understands all facets of the game. Now, the thing that he's got to do is make sure, and I say this like I should be telling Dion, but that's not what I mean, but just, you know, making conversation. The thing I think he has to do is make sure that he's always got the right kind of player development in place that's not just off of his name and experience, but then on the ground, you know, kind of like these, you know, Alabamas and Clemsons and even Mac Brown's trying to do at Carolina, you know, bring in, you know, NFL-type development coaches to help get these guys to the next level.
Did you say he's not his agent? He just listens to a lot of podcasts.
He's very
Brandon,
informed.
morning, Brandon. Brandon said if Prime leaves Jackson State, he will go against everything he has pushed for the historically black colleges and universities.
Yeah.
And that's true. I mean, that's kind of what he has come in to give them credibility and bring them to a level of I guess acceptability.
Oh yeah,
and he's done that.
Yes.
I'm with you, Brandon. I just don't see him leaving to take another job because it's with Dion. It's not about the money and prestige. He already has that. So why would he run the risk of going somewhere else that might become a problem? Rich said the problem is that with that is Jackson State won't be able to go to the FC playoffs, the football championship playoffs. They are in the SWAC, and they have a contract that they will play in the Celebration Bowl against the MEAC champ.
Okay.
Well, that's probably true, but usually there's an exception there if you're contending for a national championship.
Yeah, and what I was going to say was that's a great point, and obviously, that's what it is. I think what happens is, though, like you're saying, if they are really legitimate, that would kind of go away real quick because it's almost like you're holding somebody back.
Yeah, most of those, it's got to be a legitimate reason. I mean, it's like, for example, what is it? The Pac-12 and Big Ten champions meet in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
But if one of them's playing for a national championship, they get to opt out of that. Yeah. So I think that's what will happen, Richie. But there again, I do not keep up with it on that level, so I can't really say.
Dion, I'll follow him quite a bit, and there's a lot of excerpts and things that, and he spends. I'm just throwing a funny number out, but I bet he spends 75% of his time fussing at everybody, like the players, about you guys are doing this, you're doing. What he's trying to do is reprogram them for success this long term. He's fussing them about the cell phones. Put them up. I'll show you how this program.
Yeah, but let me tell you what, Dion. One of the things that, and correct me on my story if I'm remembering it wrong because I'm old. Dion was one of those that didn't play a lot because of the turf toe. And I can remember, I remember an athlete, and I don't remember who it was, that said at the money he was making, you need to just cut that toe off.
Oh, I heard. Yeah.
And there was one player that cut a finger off
because
of that, so they could play. But, Richie said the Cover 3 podcast talked about taking the best SWAC team and the best MEAC teams and a new conference of becoming a Group 5 conference. The shakeout is not done. They're going to have to – most of these schools should wait until they figure out who's going to be in this top tier, and then once they know who's in the top tier – then they can start regrouping a little bit and kind of go from there.
Laney, I'm going to predict that Nebraska and like Oklahoma and a few of them actually want to try to get back into the Big 12.
Would Texas be in that?
Yeah, and because now if you do conference champions, then just hear me out. Why would you go into a league where you've got 5 to 6 other teams that you've got kind of like the SEC now? Why would you go into
I've never understood that.
You see what I'm saying? Why would you they're leaving it for money. And when I say why, I understand it, but I'm talking about from the flip side, okay, which money's always at the forefront. I get that. But from a national championship contender standpoint, if you win your league, with what's going to be coming up, and then there's automatics on top of that, why would you leave the Big 12 just to go into Big 10 and have to, get beat up like you would in the SEC?
Why? I don't think that changes until I think the thing that makes that change is when you start divvying up the money based on what you bring to the conference, whether that's in wins or everybody in the Big Ten. Ohio State should not be getting the same thing as in Rutgers in there.
Yeah,
okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Vanderbilt should not be getting the same thing Alabama gets in the SEC.
But that's the idea of grouping you know, in the like you're saying, grouping in the conferences. But at some point, you know, you want other people and other programs to be successful. That's why they pay these small schools to come in and beat them. I'm just kidding. Come in and play them, you know, to kind of promote the game of football in the area, in the conference, and even in the smaller schools, and help out and things like that. But when it becomes excessive and you're sitting there going, okay, it's almost a form of socialism at one point.
Yes, that's right, because everybody's equally sharing,
right,
regardless of what your contribution is.
Yeah, and people are willing. You know, most people that you and I know, or you know, friends we got, or whatever, you know, are willing to help out. You know, hey, yeah, we want to contribute for this. That's why you tithe at church, or you give to your nonprofit. But if all you're doing is giving, and you're not able to keep up with what you're doing, that's why every transaction you do has to be a win-win. Okay,
right? Because not easy to do, but you can do it.
Right, but you've got to do it that way, because if someone says, "Well, I got a great deal on that," and they, or you know, or basically that person's taking advantage of you, you're taking advantage of them. That agreement of what you've got will crumble, because there's no solid foundation. That's why, you know, when you pay for services, right? And that's, I'm talking about football here. I'm relating it to this. When you pay for services, you know, it's got to be a fair price. It can't be somebody just cutting you a huge discount, because they're doing it for one of two reasons. Number one, they really don't want to do business with you, and they're just trying to get you out of the way. Or number two, they're stupid, because they're not going to be in business long.
Right.
And there's got to be a give and take there that is transactionally mutual, you know, in that, you know, in that deal. And if they, with this revenue share is good. Equal share is not.
Yeah.
Because of what you said. Now, there's going to be people that disagree with that from a social standpoint.
No.
You know, when we're talking about sports.
Yeah. Me, I'm not.
No. But you got to understand what I'm saying.
I want you to get what you earn.
And I'm relating this to sports, not whatever else.
No, I'm just saying I feel that way.
Yeah.
Period.
No, I know you do. Okay, and I, you know, I have my thoughts and feelings, you know, on that, but I'm trying to keep it in the sports thing. That you can't sit there and give to something that's not producing, and it's just for long term and expect it to be okay, because then it basically drains the resource that you've got to be able to help.
Right.
You can't do that. You have to replenish your resources so you can continue to go out and help more people, more organizations.
I'll go political for just 1 second.
No, I'm not. Go ahead.
I will. It doesn't bother me. just like certain social programs that help those that are down on their luck, those were meant to be temporary, not lifestyles. Same thing you're talking about. You help people when they're down so they can get back to their feet. I like Milton's thing, and I've always done that, especially in business, Milton. Milton said, be the big fish in a small pond, not just another fish in the lake.
That's
and when we've chosen software companies, when we've chosen vendors to work with, I don't want to just be another number on the list.
Exactly.
I want the business that I'm with to be at least a player, so that if I have crisis, I can get a little bit of assistance, because if you don't get anything. Todd said Vandy gets paid just like the FCS schools to play, just their checks are a lot bigger. And that's really what it is. Richie said, and Richie's mom's doing well. Good morning, Gene Dellinger.
Good morning,
Richie's
Gino.
mom's doing well after her surgery. He said that Amazon is coming in as a significant party in media right talks. They're being linked to the Big 10, Big 12, Pac-12. Here's the deal.
It's coming.
The online presentation and the ability to get anything you want, as long as you're willing to pay for it, is around the corner. When they first started the pay-per-view back in the what was it called? ESPN3, I think was the original name. Now it's ESPN Plus.
Right.
But those subscription things, I've got a subscription to Flow Sports.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
$9.99, $12.99. I don't care what it is a month. That gives me access to Lenore Ryan sports in video, all sports.
Right.
Why would I not want to do that? Yeah. I mean, and the conference did the deal, so that means part of that money's coming back. And I've always said, there's been times that people have said, you know, especially on the high school level, we don't like video. It takes away from the gate. And I'll argue till I'm blue in the face. If somebody wants to go to a game, they're not sitting at home and watching it on TV or their computer. Now, where it does hurt you at the gate is if it's 28 degrees or if it's pouring down rain and you still have the game. It would hurt you if they had an alternative to do it. But people that are going to a game, like tomorrow night, it's probably going to be 60 degrees at kickoff because it's not supposed to be 74 all day tomorrow.
There's the
places will be packed because the weather's nice. It's fall football.
We're playing West Lincoln in 60-degree weather and no humidity and homecoming and West Lincoln. Dude, that's become the craziest rivalry ever.
Well, it always was. We just didn't come out on the winning end very much.
But it's incredible.
Yeah.
And by the way, this West Lincoln team is the best one I've seen yet.
I've got to tell you this, Brian. Good morning. I got to tell you this before we take a break. My wife took a picture of you and I on the sideline because I was standing on the sideline. I don't like to sit in the stands.
Right.
And she took a picture of how good it looked for me to see me on the Maiden sidelines. A girl that I graduated with, a good friend, posted on that picture, "Can't believe that you're on the Maiden sidelines," to which I quickly cleared it up and said, I was a member of the media just standing there. I am not attached to the athletic program or anything, just a media member.
You were telling me what defense to call.
Okay, yeah.
And you said, why is this guy doing that? Shouldn't he be going under this way, and shouldn't you be running this coverage? Look, he was not media. He was Coach Lanny.
No, I'm retired.
He was all about the Blue Devils.
I am retired.
He was
back in a moment.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com.
Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Have you thought about when you would like to retire? One of your major assets is planning for retirement is time, and you lose a little of it each day. The longer you wait to start accumulating capital for retirement, the harder it's going to be. How should you plan for retirement? Start by calculating approximately how much capital you will need at retirement, then estimate how much you will have to put away each year. Finally, carefully choose the investments in which you will invest. Stifel Nicholas can assist you. Call Fort Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange.
First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
And welcome back. I hope Scott doesn't get fired. We were talking about that earlier about coaches that might get the axe.
Yeah, I mean, no, we don't want any of these guys to
No.
lose their job, but it's unfortunately it's the reality of the world
Yeah.
that we're in, and
Yep.
I'd like to see both of them get plenty of time, to get things in order, to make modifications because. Realistically, Laney, when you go into something, it could be coaching or what we're doing here. The first few times, whatever that you do things, you're constantly modifying and adapting the process, to try to make it better. And giving somebody 2 to 3 years in college football to do that in this complex world as that we live in, especially now that you can pay players to come to your school. Well, legally. I'm being funny.
When I was on in Baltimore, I made that exact same statement.
Yeah.
I said nothing's changed except the money's on the table now.
Right now, and now it's taxable.
Because I got questioned about my days at Clemson.
Oh yeah. But you have to give people time, to implement their process.
Yep.
Now, if things are chaotic or you've just made a bad hire for whatever reason to start off with, then that's really not on that person if they don't get it done. That's on you.
Let me tell you something.
There's been some really bad hires.
I've
Bad.
noticed this, and not taking anything away, and I think I may have mentioned this earlier. I knew most of the staff members because that's when I was traveling with the app when Scott was there.
Yeah.
And he took most of them with him when he went to Louisville. Now there's only one that is still there. And I understand loyalty. I do. But it's okay to do that, but you better bring in some experience at certain levels. That's what hurt Dabo those first years at Clemson.
Yes.
Andrew, I'm sorry. Get your crying towel out. But it's just like if you go in as a first-time head coach, if you can find a retread head coach to come in and be a coordinator, you're going to do a whole lot better because they'll teach you. You'll learn because they've been down that road. Yes. But sometimes it's hard to swallow that ego, like Dabo, Andrew. Swallow that ego and say, I need help. And, Andrew, I'm going to tell you why I know you're out there. I don't want to see the play call and sheet in front of his mouth like this again. Okay? That's not going to turn out well for any of us. I'm just telling you. Let's see. Richie said he's ready for some great weather. Milton, he's a West Lincoln grad. Go Rebels. Richie said 4, not wishing you and your Blue Devils well this week. Got to go homer, full homer on this one.
Well, all kidding aside, I mean, and I absolutely want everybody to pull for their team. That's never. But,
I don't pull for my team. I pull for the team I think's going to win in my picks. You don't do picks with your heart. You do picks with your head.
Oh, that's why I'm behind.
Yeah.
So.
And we'll remember to do our picks, Bob. Thank you.
And to Richie's point, both these teams play really, really hard. There's going to be a lot of contact in this game. And, my thing, with working with kids, yes, you want to win football games on Friday and that kind of thing, but we're not in the job necessarily of winning games. That's just a byproduct of the development growth of young men, right? This is going to be a game where we need to think about kids, getting out of it, playing hard, and being safe, and healthy at the end, because it's going to be a bloodbath.
I'm gonna kill him. Andrew said it's turned out 3-0 so far. I'll take it. Andrew says Dabo is substance. Okay. All right. Hold on, Andrew. Hold on.
BYOG, bring your own guts. I love it.
Hold on, Andrew. Are they going undefeated? Are the Tigers going undefeated?
Absolutely. Until the first game of the national championship.
Are they going undefeated? That's all I want to know. That's all I want to know, Andrew. What's the matter?
I'm hearing crickets.
Yeah, that's kind of what you're going to hear. Yeah. He said, I don't have any picks for high school football, so I'm going with my heart.
Absolutely. Got to go.
Andrew said they're going undefeated till they lose.
Of course.
Excellent, Andrew. Excellent.
I love it.
That's excellent right there. That's excellent. Chad said, go Deeks. That may be a bigger struggle than you think.
It's going to be a really good game. Keith Henry, who's a former Maiden player, he's coached college football for, I'd say close to 30 years, maybe a little longer. He, of course, his son plays at Clemson, KJ Henry, defensive end, number 5, really big kid, tremendous player. But Keith was sending out a thing last night to the coaches about getting tickets for that game because, Keith coached at Wake Forest. So he's got some ties there. But, Laney, and you know this, I know, our listeners know, but there's so much intertwining in sports and because of sports, right? Like, the chances that I would be connected with Milton or Richie if we didn't do this show, I mean, it may happen one day. But think about some of the people that I have had the chance to interact with, all right, because of sports. And then you as a coach, right? As much as we talk about this guy shouldn't do this or that guy's going to do that, this is a great thing for our society because it brings people together, right, in an otherwise divisive, world. And so that's why I don't like it when, and I'm talking personally, when things are talked about on the sports arena that don't have to do with sports but have to do with other things. Now, does that make me right and everybody else wrong that does it? No. But I think that's why you're seeing NASCAR come back, for example, in North Wilkesboro. What I'm saying is there's a natural evolution of everything, and the pendulum never swings 100% this way, 100%.
Yeah.
It's always a 75-75.
Yep.
And so I'm starting to see that now. Just,
let me tell you another thing
starting to play and not talk so
that
much.
Bothers me that if I ever do it, somebody jump down my throat about it because it's not what I want to do or come across that way. And there's a specific radio host on the political side that used to do it, maybe still does it because I don't listen. If I have you on as a guest and I ask you to explain your side to me, I don't want to see that host attack that person because they don't have the same views. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got to be able to discuss it, and my favorite phrase, agree to disagree. I mean, if I'm doing it in jest,
yes,
not about seriousness. That means that I may not be 100% against what you're saying, but I'm not going to bring you on or ask your opinion and then blow you up over it. There's nothing worse. That's an ambush from where I'm from.
If you do it the way you're talking about doing it and agree to disagree, that goes against the playbook.
Well, I watch them hens on The View do it all the time.
Well,
they'll bring somebody on and then just absolutely ravage them. Well, now, my wife worships The View, but that's another story.
My thing is you can follow over a period of 2 to 3 years what people are truly interested in by the shows that are actually on TV. All right, and the validity of what's going on within those shows. So, if ESPN is going to talk about sports or put on sports,
I want to see sports.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's me. Nope.
You know, and this is where the great divide comes in between trying to get airtime and change opinions.
Mm-hmm. No.
You know, I mean, not to get in, to things, but I saw somewhere this morning that there was a magazine that said, Americans should love inflation.
Yeah. Propaganda.
Well, but now again, people are entitled if they own a magazine to do what they want to do. But I guess what I'm saying is just be informed about things.
Yep.
That's all.
I'm going to make my picks live right here
Whoa.
on the air.
Whoa.
How about that? On our Pick'em contest.
Bob Steelers by 50.
Me. I'm going to take the Browns. I'm just telling you.
Stop picking with your brain.
My thing wasn't working here, so I was trying to make sure. Now we go. All right. Well, I'm going to take Cleveland. I'm going to come back to that one. I'm going to take the Bills.
Oh, yeah.
Josh Allen is 8-0 against the Bills. Or the Buffalo Bills were 8-0 against the Miami Dolphins since 2016.
Get ready to make it
I'm going to take the Bengals. I'm going to take the Vikings.
Oh, you're going to take the Bengals?
I'm going to take Chicago. They let me down this past weekend. I'm going to take Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to take the Saints against the lowly Panthers. Philadelphia against the Commanders.
Definitely. Philadelphia's really good right now.
Chargers against Jacksonville.
Yep. I don't know.
I'm going to come back to that one.
It's huge. I can actually see it.
Oh, gosh, I hate to take that one. I'm going to come back to that one. I'll
That's
take the
an easy
Rams
one.
against the Cardinals.
Definitely Jimmy G.
Yeah, because Jimmy G's back. Now, if he hadn't been playing, I probably took Denver.
Absolutely.
I probably took Russell and Denver.
And
that
again,
still may be one.
Don't misunderstand what I'm saying about Trey Lance. I wouldn't pick against, not because it's him, because of his experience and he's still learning, right, the things that come up. That's why I would have taken Denver if he was still playing. Not because I don't think he's a good player. He's just got a lot to learn. Jimmy G, time-tested, proven, and true. He's boring, okay?
I'm going to take the New York Football Giants against the Cowgirls.
Yeah, that's probably a good
My
pick.
upset special in college, I'm going to take the Baylor Bears.
Whoa.
Against Iowa State.
Fantastic.
My Tigers, Michigan,
Okay.
Auburn against Missouri.
Good pick.
I'm going to come back to that one.
You got to take Tennessee.
I'm going to take Michigan State. I can't. Carolina against Notre Dame.
Lanny, that's going to be a really
I'm going to take the
game.
Dome. I'm going to take Texas Tech against Texas. Or Washington State had a big upset last week, and I'm still going to take the Ducks.
You made a heart pick.
Ooh, gosh.
You've made a heart pick, Notre Dame, Carolina. You made a heart pick.
I don't have any confidence in Carolina. I'm sorry. I just don't.
Dude, Drake May's unbelievable.
I'm going to take Arkansas. He is, but their defense sucks.
Notre Dame's does too?
I understand. I'm going to take Arkansas against A&M.
That's a good pick.
Ohio State.
Yeah.
Oklahoma. Southern Cal against Oregon State. Yeah. Washington against Stanford.
They're the team to watch.
Utah.
You know that?
Yeah.
Washington, they're really good.
Yep. And let me go back up here to the ones that I missed. I'm going to take Florida.
I'm going to get back in the lead this week.
That's okay. If I don't take some of those, I don't gain any ground.
Me too. I've done some crazy stuff this week. You got to go with Tampa. You're not going to go with – they're playing at Tampa.
Atlanta's at Seattle, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll go Seattle because of the West Coast thing. Tommy's not right.
Tommy's always right.
Tommy's not right.
He's always
Tommy's
right.
got marital issues. He's got mama on his mind.
Do you really think?
All right, I'll take Tampa. All right, what else did I miss?
I think the
Baltimore,
New
England. That one worries me too. That's in New England. Baltimore played like crap last week.
New England.
Huh?
New
That's against the grain, but
but no, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's why I had to come back.
But yeah, man, that's.
And Lindsay, if you're listening, I'm not a hater.
She's gonna say it.
I'm going to go
She's gonna say
54
it.
on my tiebreaker, and I'm going to save it. The picks are in. Thank you, Bob. Bob said make sure I got my picks in. You don't get a reminder, okay? Let's see. Let me roll back here because I know that I have had comments. Milton said, I don't watch sports to hear politics. I watch sports as an escape. Me and you both. If you have to make a decision to be informed and form your own opinion. I've told you, when I throw stuff out there, I don't want you to follow me. I want you to go do your research.
Right.
Adam said, I'm using my heart and picking the Cowboys.
I do the same
You'd
thing
be
with the
more
Steelers.
effective to pick your nose, Adam. I'm sorry, because the Cowboys are terrible. Terrible, as Charles would say.
Terrible.
And Andrew, that's right. Mac is back. Andrew said, yes, not sure between Carolina and Notre Dame who sucks worse. I don't think it's as much that. I just don't have the confidence in Carolina to get it done. Adam says, I picked against the Cowboys. Rich said, the question is, how will the game go? If it gets into a shootout, I think Carolina wins. I do expect Notre Dame to go with the ball control offense and run it.
Yeah, they will, because Carolina's defense, everybody's so worried about their pass defense. It's not much better on the run side, and to Richie's point, that's kind of what I was thinking, with that. If Carolina doesn't get 3 and outs or at least, some punts after 5 or 6 plays off of them, then, it's going to go. But it's going to be a shootout on the clock and not on one where they're actually scoring points, right?
Could come down who has the ball last.
That's and if it's Drake May, Carolina's going to win.
Because Andrew says, all jokes aside, I'm going with Drake May.
Absolutely.
Andrew says, I want you to follow me as I follow Dabo. I got more invested than you do, Andrew. I played for the guy that won a national championship too, the old-fashioned way. He earned it.
Smith Barney, the roller coaster.
He beat a Nebraska team back in the day, Tom Osborne
team,
Nebraska team, But in all honesty about that one, they fell into that one because everybody ahead of them kept getting beat.
Yeah.
They were undefeated and moved up the polls.
Yeah.
There was no playoff situation,
right.
but it still was a good game. I've told you I don't have anything against Dabo, just not one of my favorites in some of the decisions he makes, and make him stop doing this. I don't want to see this. That means he's getting way too involved. That's not what a head coach does.
Come on, baby, you got this.
No, he's not doing that. No.
You don't think he's holding up there saying, "Hey, you're the man." I got
he's having to do that to DJ. We'll find, and I'm not believing in that yet either. Okay, that's still smoke and mirrors.
Oh, that's going to be one to talk about.
What?
Oh, that quarterback. I don't think it's really a controversy, Lenny. I think everybody knows who the guy ought to be.
I can tell you who don't know. Andrew's best friend, Dabo.
I'm telling you, man.
Adam said Cowboys are not passing the ball 50 times because Dak isn't there. They're running the ball and playing defense, and it's the NFC East where we all sit at the kids' table.
Yeah.
The team that's going to be surprising out of that, I picked the Cowboys to finish third in that division.
Who's the surprise team?
Philadelphia is the big surprise.
Jalen Hurts.
And the Giants. The Giants are going to finish ahead of the Cowboys and the Commanders.
All right, so I'm talking to Quinn and Garrick about, Jalen Hurts. We're talking about how well
you don't talk about anybody but Tommy.
Oh, my gosh, dude. When you got him
Tampa.
on, you just wait. He can throw the
Tampa.
He knows
He
the
just
guys.
talks about Tampa.
No, he knows them. What's interesting is when you saw Jalen Hurts, Alabama never won a national championship starting Tua.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When you saw Tua go into the game, it wasn't because Hurts wasn't an effective player.
Mm-hmm.
It's because the reason that it ended up being like one of the greatest moves ever, obviously, was because Georgia had nothing to prepare for or to counteract with Tua because they had nothing on him, right? So they didn't really know what to do or how to play this. They knew that he was tremendous, tremendous talent, but who's going to look to their right and throw back to their left and win the national championship on a touchdown? That's, a freshman, okay? Jalen Hurts, the way he handled that, they tried to bait him. at the end, what do you think about, you coming in, and all he says, man, we won a national championship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the guy stays at Alabama the next year, is voted a team captain, and he's not the starter. Tua gets hurt. Jalen comes in, wins the SEC championship, right? Tua gets better, and they go on and play. He keeps working on himself. He didn't blame anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
When he graduated, got his degree, he set himself in to transfer, and he went to Lincoln Riley, right, at Oklahoma.
Quarterback whisperer.
Okay. The knock on Jalen, which I think is very unfair in my opinion, was that he couldn't throw the football effectively.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he was the second strongest guy at Alabama, or at one time was, people, say, well, he's a great runner, he can do this. The reason he's successful in the NFL is because of the person he is. He handled everything with grace, dignity. He never talked bad about anybody.
And commitment.
And he honored what he said he was going there to do. He was voted a team captain in Alabama and did not start, okay, after, being there and winning. So, sometimes sometimes you have to follow the substance more so than the perceived style.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, when he got to Philadelphia, people were like, well, he'll never be an NFL quarterback. He can't throw and he can't do this. He played for Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley taught him even more on how to throw the football and how to read things and be confident. He's always had a great arm. I mean, come on. What are we I mean, yeah, and then the fact that now he's actually got the opportunity to get rid of Carson Wentz and be the guy. Okay, why does Jalen Hurts succeed and Carson Wentz fail? Because of his preparation and the commitment against the competition that he was going against. Mm-hmm. Okay? I like Carson Wentz. He is a very good person. But when you put those two on the table, you can talk about intangibles and all. Let's talk about realistic things that have come to fruition.
Yeah. No,
you line those two up and you tell me who you want. I would take Jalen Hurts almost over anybody in the NFL. All right, and you say, what about Josh Allen? Okay, if Josh Allen runs the ball anywhere as much as he did last year, he's going to be in the not-for-long league, okay? So, Jalen's body, both physically and mentally, he's dialed in to be a long-term player. So, people that talk about throwing and this and that and the other, that's analytics. And if you've actually played the game and you understand the position, and I'm talking about playing 4A football, okay? I'm talking about, being in a college setting, okay, and understand these things like you were, okay? You played at Clemson. Jalen Hurts it's very likely he's going to be one of the top tier players in the NFL, and he's a top tier person. Mm-hmm. I told my boys, I said, if there's anybody the last 5 years that will show you how to handle situations when you maybe feel like things were unfair to you or you didn't get the recognition you deserved, okay, look at the way he handled it and go about it with that and know that that is temporary or whatever, but the way you handle things and situations is forever.
If you handle it the right way and you really do have what it takes, that will rise. I mean, it's just that simple.
100%.
Bob said Hurts was pushed out of Alabama and has something to prove now.
Yeah.
And Chad said, don't let no one behind you with seconds on the clock. That's very critical there. All right, I'm going to take a break. Then Juju's going to join us. Good luck tomorrow night to the mighty Blue Devils.
Yeah, well, hey, West Lincoln, best West Lincoln team I've seen yet. Guys that coach them do a great job. The kids play hard.
Yep.
It's going to be we've had 3 really, really good games with them. This is one you don't want to miss if you can be there.
Slobber knocker.
It's going to be crazy.
Won't be here tomorrow. I got to travel, so I'll see you on Monday night with Juju. Juju's up next.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
Glad to have you here this morning, as we do each and every week. We'd like to talk to our good friend Juju Phillips. Good morning to you, sir.
Hey, Lanny, good morning. It is always a pleasure talking to you, talking football, and whatever else we manage to get into.
I saw a funny story. I guess it's not funny, but it is kind of funny, of who the next possible candidate coach to get fired in the Power 5 before the season's over. You want to take a stab?
Boy, the guy at Auburn.
No, right conference.
Oh, right conference.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
One of my favorite coaches.
One of your. The guy at Mississippi.
Missouri.
Lane Kiffin.
No, Missouri. Eli Drinkowitz. He may be the next one on the list to get the axe, according to, I want to say that was either The Athletic or 24/7 that I saw that story. He's rolling downhill pretty fast. And the thing about it is he will have trouble, if he does, he'll have trouble getting another head coaching job at that level, because he went from an assistant to 1 year at a Group 5 that went Power 5 and then pretty well faltered. That's going to make it kind of tough. But some good college games starting tonight, Juju. West Virginia, Virginia Tech. Coastal at Georgia State. That one should be a good one. Chattanooga at Illinois. Those are the games set for tonight. That Coastal at Georgia State says that's at Center Park PARC Stadium in Atlanta. We know it as the what?
The former baseball stadium.
The former home of the Braves. Yeah, I want to say Fulton County, but it's on the ground. That's a parking lot now. I can't remember what the name of it was, but they converted it. It's a nice-looking stadium.
Yeah, it's the old Turner Field.
Turner Field, that's what I was trying. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and that's a big game. I guess Coastal in the Sun Belt Conference, a big Sun Belt game. Coastal, one of the, what is it, 33 teams in the country that are still undefeated.
That's correct.
One of the bigger games coming up this weekend is, besides those games you mentioned tonight, is the James Madison Appalachian game.
Mm-hmm.
Lanny, I was reading some stories of last week when College Game Day hit, and because they switched things around with College Game Day. They hired a couple of new people to come on board the show. They have gotten their best rating in more than a decade.
Yeah, and that particular one was ranked in the top 10, I think, of all time as far as audience share.
That's amazing.
Yeah, yep.
That is, like you said, like we talked the other day, they weren't there for the ball game. They were just there to promote game day and Appalachian coming off that great win and the atmosphere there. And the guys stuck around and they promoted it quite a bit. but it was one of the highest rated college game days ever, and that's saying something.
Yeah, it really is, and it's one of those things that you can't just go by where it is or what it is or anything else. It's going to be, you've got people out there that support it. And one of the things you can say about Appalachian forever, they are very loyal. They travel well, and a lot of schools can't say that anymore.
Well, especially at that level, Andy, you're absolutely right. When the bowl games that Appalachian does play in, they really draw. For the size of the school and everything, they draw as well or better than a lot of the FBS schools. And I saw the ratings, and I think they said it was well over 2 million people, and that's up 15-20%.
Yep.
From the last couple of years. You even throw out the COVID year before that. I mean, they're doing a great job of that, and Appalachian kind of put them on the map a little bit as well. The other football note I wanted to mention is Kyle Duggar, the Lenore-Ryan alum who's been playing in the NFL. He hurt his knee last weekend against the Steelers for New England, the playmaker. He did not practice this week or has not practiced yet. He's been in a compression sleeve, but they expect him perhaps not to miss. If he misses any games, he may miss one game. He may even play this week. But there's no structural damage to his knee, according to reports. So that's good news to hear. No torn ACL, nothing like that. But he does have some problems with his knee, and he hurt it on a kickoff return. Mm-hmm. He returned for 37 yards in that game. But that's good news to hear that even though he's a little bit injured, it's not as bad as many people may have thought at the very beginning.
That's awesome. On the lighter side of football, and I saw this last night, and it's actually on the homepage for ESPN. If you haven't seen it, you need to Google this. Eli Manning goes undercover at Penn State tryouts. Have you heard about this?
Yes, I did. I think I saw the video somewhere.
That was awesome. That was absolutely awesome. And to see the look on those kids' face, and I don't think the assistant coaches were in on it because, some of the mics picked up some of the assistant coaches. I think I see something in that guy. We might want to hold on to him, Coach. I think I see something in that guy.
I think the only person who knew was the head coach, James
I think so.
Franklin.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
But that was awesome. And you don't think of Eli in that character. You do Peyton, but not really Eli. Eli's the quiet one.
Yeah, sometimes they have the best sense of humor like that.
Yep.
The dry sense of humor, and maybe his personality is coming out now after he's on TV right now. Maybe that's been his personality all along. Now we're starting to see it on TV as well. So we'll see.
A couple big games in the college ranks coming up this weekend. Of course, tomorrow night, Virginia and Syracuse. That's two mules fighting over a turnip. And then Georgia's got a huge game on Saturday. They'll be visited by Kent State. So that's another tune-up there for the Bulldogs. Maryland will take a thrashing at Michigan. Clemson and Wake at Winston-Salem. Those games scare me. They always have. When I was there and right after I left, we used to buy the Wake Forest home games and pay them to come to Clemson. They could make more money if they sold their game to come to Clemson instead of play at home. Used to do it with Duke as well. But those days have changed. Some of the other you talk about, you mentioned the Auburn coach maybe on the hot seat. Well, does somebody get fired this weekend because it's Missouri at Auburn?
Maybe. I have a hard time firing a football coach in September.
Yeah. Unless
he did something illegal or something immoral or unethical or something like that, but just losing some football games in September,
mm-hmm.
and you're going to get rid of the coach, and that's basically you're throwing away the season.
Mm-hmm. Great game at 3:30. Florida travels to Neyland Stadium in Knoxville. We'll find out which one of those two teams are real.
Yeah, Tennessee's one of the 33 teams that are undefeated, and I think I saw maybe it was on ESPN. They rated the teams based upon their strength of schedule. Tennessee was in the top 20, top 15, I believe. Georgia was number 1, even though they're like you said, they're playing a cupcake this weekend. Did you know Georgia? I think I saw where they're the only major football program in college football that did not have any transfers on their team.
Wow.
Not one transfer.
That means they did a great job of recruiting.
They know what they wanted. They kept those guys there. I don't know if even they probably lost a couple of kids, but they didn't have to go out and bring in anybody. So they must like the players that they absolutely recruited. But some of those games this weekend, I think we're going to find out a whole lot about some of these teams and programs. That Wake game and Clemson, both of those teams are undefeated. So some of these games are going to separate. Some of these what they call the separate weekend, where some of these teams start to move away from the rest of the pack, so to speak.
The other one, based on the year they're having, is a little unusual. 2 unranked teams, but it's a huge game. Notre Dame travels down to Chapel Hill, 3:30 game to take on the Tar Heels. And if I look down through the schedule here a little bit, I'm trying to see if any major ranked teams. Arkansas travels to A&M. That should be a good one. That's a 7 o'clock game. That's the ESPN 7 o'clock game on Sunday night. Vanderbilt goes to Alabama, Wisconsin at Ohio State, UConn at NC State. The Charlotte 49ers travel down to see the Chickens at William Bryce. Charlotte's not having that prestigious year, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And then the other one is Boston College. That's been a train wreck for years. They go to Florida State. Florida State could pick up another big win.
They could. I think Charlotte, they won a pretty big game last week, right?
Yes.
They beat somebody that was a little bit of a surprise, and if they should happen to pull off the upset against South Carolina, you kind of wonder about what, I think one of the reporters asked South Carolina's coach Beamer, whether or not that his team is in kind of trouble after losing that game last week, and he kind of, poo-pooed it or stepped on the reporter's toes, so to speak. But if they happen to lose to Charlotte, that their season has gone haywire, so to speak, early on. But some of these games, I like the fact that there's still a few of them, as you mentioned. But I like the fact that some of these teams are getting into the conference play and playing games that really matter and not playing these money games.
Yep, you're exactly right. How about the Bears? What's going on with them this weekend?
They play Carson Newman, a team that it said on the weekly press release that this is a rival. And, I'm not so sure. It was a rival for a few years. Carson Newman dominated LR for 3 decades. They won every game for almost 30 years, over 30 years, I guess. And the Bears broke that string in 2010 and then have dominated the series since 2010. This is the 15th meeting in the last 12 years. And the Bears have won, I think, 10 of the games, 10 or 11. So they've turned it around completely. And Carson Newman has fallen in a ditch. They're 1-2. They had an awful year last year. They went 1-9. So they're not the program, certainly not the team that they used to be. But the Bears host them this weekend, and LR hoping to continue. They had a great offensive performance last week and a win as they knocked off Erskine. They hope to continue that this weekend. It's a 6 o'clock kickoff. And one note about Carson Newman, they have a quarterback, Landy, that this is his 4th university or 4th college that he's played at. His name is Ivan Corbin. He started at Limestone. He transferred to Georgia Southern, then to Tusculum, where he was the starting quarterback last year, and then he transferred to Carson Newman this year. After I think he had to sit out a year or a semester. But 4 schools in 4 years or 5 years. That's a little bit unnerving, I think. But maybe that's something that Carson Newman is known to do. They've down through the years have been able to pull away with transfer players to be successful, but I don't know if you can get a quarterback that's been in 3 other places to get him for 1 year that's going to turn your program around.
I don't know the history like you do, but Carson Newman had a long tenure with one coach. And, when you talk about continuity of coaching staffs and coaching and systems, it makes a difference. When they started on the downhill slide, was after there was a change in coaching?
They did. I mean, they were still very competitive. I don't think they won a conference championship, but they made the playoffs a couple of years. with their next coach after Ken Sparks retired, and they were pretty good his last few years. And then his assistant coach, offensive coordinator, ran that similar offense, the Veer offense that's pretty much extinct now in any level in football. They ran that for a few years. Then in 2019, they made the playoffs, and the LR beat them pretty bad in the playoffs. And the game got kind of out of hand. And after that, the Carson Newman coach retired. So they went inside and hired from within. And since 2019, COVID hit and everything, they have really hit the skids. Again, like I said, they went 1-9 a year ago, and this year they're 1-2. So, they're trying to rebuild. They got a guy that used to play at Carson Newman. He was on the staff at Carson Newman. They're hoping to continue that string of winning ways that they had back in the 70s and the 80s and even into the 90s and 2000s. You talk about 30 years of, they were like what Florida State used to be to the ACC. Carson Newman was to the South Atlantic Conference. They won the league about every year, won national championships, and then that all changed, when Ken Sparks retired.
Right. And, they went inside hoping to continue that continuity that they had, but that doesn't always work.
No, it hasn't. It hasn't worked yet. It hasn't worked yet for them. That 2020 year kind of threw them off a little bit. And then they had the spring season that they had to cancel it. They had the 4 or 5 games. They played 1 or 2 games, I think, and lost both, and then just canceled the rest of the season. I don't know if COVID broke out within their squad. And then last year, I think they went almost the entire year before they finally won a game, maybe the next to the last weekend. Maybe they went 1-9 or 1-10 a year ago and got off to a slow start again this year. So, again, they're not the program they used to be, and they're coming to LR. So the Bears got to take care of business, a team that they should beat, and they beat them last year. LR won at Carson Newman 59-0. So they're not the same program they used to be, and the Bears got to take care of business this weekend at home and hope to go to 3-1.
All right, sir. Anything else going on?
Well, Andy, that's about it. I was looking at some of the high school games I'm trying to pick for this week. You had a great week last week. I had a pretty good week, but we're still a few games behind after a slow start.
Yep. Everybody else has a good week. You don't catch up. Don't matter how good your week is. We good for Monday, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. We'll be back. Juju be in studio Monday evening. We'll get on air here around 6 o'clock. Hope you can join us. Until then, I'll be gone tomorrow, so I'll see you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next time. Thanks, Juju.
All right, Lanny. Thank you as always.